And joining us tonight to take all of this up, Congressman Jim Jordan. He's the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, good to have you with us, as is Congressman Andy Biggs, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, also a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Good to have you with us. Let me start, Congressman Jordan, with you. Spygate, the president now calls it Obamagate. Do you agree with him?
Heck yes, Lou. Remember, 3 weeks in January of 2017, January 3rd, Chuck Schumer says you mess with the intel community, they have 6 ways from Sunday to get back at you. January 4th, Peter Strzok overrules the field agents who said Mike Flynn did nothing wrong, overrules them and says Comey and McCabe want us to pursue Mike Flynn. January 5th, Obama meets with these top people, Brennan, Clapper, Yates, Comey in the Oval Office. After that meeting's done, he sits down with Comey and talks about Mike Flynn. January 6th, that same group of people in the intel community go up to Trump Tower and brief President Trump. At the end of that meeting, Comey does what? Sticks around and talks to the president Trump about the dossier that he already knew was false, salacious, unverified, and Russian disinformation. And then, of course, 12 days after that, they go set up Michael Flynn. And in between the January 6th, when they're trying to trap the president, and January 24th, when they trap Michael Flynn, in between that, what do? They leak information to friendly reporters to further set up this false narrative. Those 3 weeks in January tell us everything, and the president is exactly right. If it can happen to him, imagine what they can do to you, to Andy, to me, and more importantly, to any American citizen. That's why this is so darn wrong.
And Congressman Biggs, because this happened to a president, there should be I believe, an insistence upon an accounting and justice, and that includes knowing exactly who is responsible for the conspiracy against this president. He obviously believes it is President Obama. What do you believe?
Well, I think all the evidence, Jim gave us a great timeline, but all the evidence does point to coming right out of the top from President Obama on down. And this really was a conspiracy to do something that we've not seen in American history, and that was to actually perform a coup. That's really what this was. I mean, you can't get to it any more succinctly than that. This was an attempt to undermine the election of the people. That's a coup. And they were abusing their power, abusing the process, and they were using the media.
Congressman Biggs, let me ask you this. This is obviously a conspiracy by the radical Dems, the radical deep state, and aided and abetted by the national left-wing media, but importantly, chairman of House committees, and amongst those, Adam Schiff, the Speaker of the House herself, because all knew that none of those witnesses that were called by the House Intel Committee, all of the transcripts reveal not one of them said anything about Russian collusion on the part of the Russian campaign, the organization. It's just insane that they would have proceeded with the special counsel report, let alone come up with an impeachment inquiry. Why aren't the Republicans going after the people responsible? It is the Democratic Party of hate, and it is the Justice Department and the intelligence agencies, the FBI, under the Obama administration.
Well, Lou, first of all, not only did they not say anything about it, they said there was no collusion. That's what the folks were saying. And then they would go out and leak this to the media. You're right, there was a conspiracy afoot. The Republicans, when we had the majority, we didn't get the subpoenas, we didn't get the investigations we needed. We're now in the minority. So the same people that leaked it and caused all this problem.
Wait a minute. Let's not just go by that. Let's not just go by that, Congressman. The Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, Trey Gowdy, in charge of the Benghazi Committee, one of the most, head of the Oversight Committee as well at one point. Good Lord. I'm now, Gowdy is out trying to dismiss a consideration by the Republican Party of the culpability of President Obama. What in the world was the leadership of your party thinking? Congressman, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't explain why. I know that a number of us were asking for subpoenas in the Judiciary Committee and Oversight Committees. We needed to get to the bottom of this, and we were not getting help. And who can explain why? It just didn't make sense to me. It still doesn't make sense, but we have got to get the Durham report out. It's long overdue, in my opinion, but there has got to be change in the House leadership from D to R. We need people who will actually prosecute and investigate next time.
Well, we had ours. That didn't work out too well either, did it?
Yep.
Congressman Jordan?
Yeah, the good news is, Lou, Bill Barr is doing a great job. But for him putting Jeff Jensen on the task of relooking at the Michael Flynn case, we might not get this information. So Bill Barr with John Durham and these guys are doing a good job. We anxiously await their report. I want to go back to something Andy said too, Lou. He used the term coup, but that's not what they called it. That's not what the FBI called it. They called it the insurance policy, right? They called it the insurance policy. Started off, stop Donald Trump from getting elected, and then it transformed into stop the American people from knowing what we did. And thank goodness Bill Barr, Jeff Jensen, Sidney Powell, and others have been pushing, so we now have the information, and we know everything you've been saying for 3 years, Lou, Andy's been saying, and others have been saying, is now true. We were right about the whole darn thing.
And the reality is that a great deal is riding on this investigation. Do you believe that by Durham and now joined by U.S. Attorneys Shea and Jensen, do you believe that they will have results before the before the presidential election in November?
I sure hope so, and I hope they're still looking at Jim Comey, because Comey is the common denominator here through this whole thing. He's the guy who told us early July of 16 Hillary Clinton did all these wrong things, but we're not going to prosecute. That same month, they launched this investigation into President Trump with no basis, a bunch of garbage, this crazy Russian dossier that they knew was garbage. So Jim Comey's at the heart of every single bit of this thing. I hope that's who they're pursuing.
And do you get the last word, Congressman?
Well, it's time to quit talking about it and quit waiting. I think we need action right away. I think the American people are clamoring for that, and I know that I am. So I'm glad that we've got the team that we've got investigating, but they really need to put the horses in the barn, and let's get this thing done.
Attorney General Barr is moving things ahead. I have to admit, I worried about a couple of lulls, but it seems that that is a bit of the past. It's a time, as you say, for action, and we thank you both, Jim Jordan and Andy Biggs. Great congressmen, great Americans. Thank you both.